Good day everyone, I am Franzel and I will be one of the reporters for Module 6, the printing process. I will be discussing the basic printing methods. So the scope of my presentation, we will try to cover the evolution of printing, the basic printing methods, although there are 5 basic printing methods, but we will only focus on 3, the letterpress, the gravure printing, and the offset lithography. We will also try to explore their origin, the processes, how these machines work, its advantages and disadvantages. But before we dive into the discussion, may I first ask you a question? Have you ever used a printer before? Of course, yes, right? We use printer to print documents, to print requirements, to print our reports. So basically, we use it to inform and educate, right? Can you imagine having to copy everything by hand, letter by letter, or carve each page into wood before printing it? That's how things were before one of the greatest inventions in history came along. And we will try to understand how knowledge and information spread through the invention of printing presses. As the saying goes, knowledge is power, and the printing press revolutionized the way that knowledge was shared. It helped spread concepts, scientific advancements, and philosophical ideas. Before printing, people relied on public speaking and oral traditions, which sometimes led to misunderstanding and incorrect information being passed on. Because most people could not even read or understand even those written materials were available, especially in rural areas. So before the printing press, books had to be hand copied, which took a lot of time and made them expensive and rare because religious institutions, the wealthy people, the monarchs controlled knowledge and decided what could be written or shared. But with the invention of the printing press, books became available not just for the elite, but also for the ordinary people. Now, let us first discuss the first basic printing method, which is the letterpress printing. This is the oldest traditional printing technique, which originated in the 15th century with the invention of the first mechanical movable type by Johannes Gutenberg. So prior to this, block printing or the wood block printing was most commonly used where people could carve an image or text into a block of wood, ink it, and press it onto paper or fabric. Letterpress or the relief printing works like a rubber stamp. But then, Gutenberg tried to improve this by using a movable metal type, which allowed letters to be rearranged and reused instead of using wood blocks. So this method dominated the printing industry for centuries, used in spreading knowledge during the Renaissance period and beyond. How does the letterpress work? So the letterpress printing process involves multiple stages: the composition, the imposition, and lockup and printing. So an operator of the letterpress will assemble movable type and then apply some ink to it before pressing the paper against it. And this entire process is manually done. Letters, numbers, and symbols known as types are manually organized within a frame to create words, sentences, and pages. These are set in reverse so they print correctly on paper. Unlike woodblock printing, where the entire block had to be carved for each page, letterpress is a more flexible and economical reuse of type. Ink is applied to the raised surface using rollers. The ink surface is pressed onto the paper, transferring the ink and forming the print. Each sheet of paper is printed individually, so meaning large print runs would really take time. The press can print text, images, or it can be both, though images typically require special blocks. The ink needs time to dry after the paper is printed, and this can take a few minutes to hours. Now we will also learn the two types of letterpress machines. The first one is the flatbed. On a flatbed press, the substrate or the paper is carried on a rotating cylinder and the flat plate either sits beneath the cylinder or stands vertically. The second one is the rotary beds. On a rotary press, the plate is curved around a cylinder and the substrate is passed between the plate cylinder and an impression cylinder to transfer the image on one side of the page. Now you see the difference? Here's the trivia. The most famous work produced by Letterpress is the Gutenberg Bible, also called as the 42-line Bible, which is considered as one of the first mass-produced books. Before this book was published, only priests and monks had the opportunity to read written materials. This book is a milestone in printing history as it made books available to a wider audience, contributing to rising literacy rates, including women. With the invention of the letterpress, everyone could now access knowledge. Books, pamphlets, and newspapers can now be mass-produced. Letterpress really played a significant role during the Protestant Reformation and the Enlightenment. People could now print and circulate their revolutionary ideas widely, which was critical for social and political change. Not until the 1960s and 1970s when the letterpress machines became obsolete. Chandler and Price, one of the iconic letterpress makers, stopped producing these machines by 1964. And today, letterpress printing is mainly utilized for invitations, business cards, and greeting cards. And the second type of basic printing method is the gravure printing, also called as intaglio printing, where the image is engraved on the surface of a cylinder and paper is pressed against the ink cylinder on a rotary press. The image is transferred directly to the paper. This printing process produces high-quality images but is also expensive and requires intensive labor. The setup cost and the cost of engraving the cylinder are quite high. Gravure is only cost-effective for long runs. Like I said, this method is often used for long runs of high-quality multicolor printing like magazines, stamps, and packaging. Gravure printing also had a huge impact on consumer culture as companies could now print ads in magazines, create sales, and trends. It was also good for long print runs like packaging, currency, even periodicals that need to be printed. And the third type of basic printing method is the offset lithography. Lithography was invented in 1798 by Alois Senefelder. It is the process of printing from a smooth, flat plate like the limestone or metal on which an image is applied with a greasy ink. It is a printing technique based on the idea that oil and water do not mix. The image will repel water and accept oil-based ink. So the process of this offset lithography, the first step is the plate preparation. A flat printing plate is prepared where the image area attracts ink while the non-image area attracts water. And the second step is the inking and dampening. Rollers apply water and ink to the plate. The ink sticks only to the image areas. And the third step is the offset. The ink image is transferred from the plate to a rubber blanket. And the fourth one or the last one is the impression. The rubber blanket then transfers the image to the paper. Offset printing is cost-effective for large quantities. It produces sharp images and works on a variety of paper types. It was suitable for the printing of books, newspapers, brochures, posters, and other mass-market products. This helped increase the flow of information even more, particularly through mass media like newspapers and education materials. So each of these printing methods, the letterpress, the gravure, and the offset lithography, has distinct advantages and applications based on the project requirements. While the letterpress excels in high-quality, smaller run jobs with unique textures, gravure is also ideal for high-volume, image-heavy prints. Offset lithography stands out as a very versatile, cost-efficient method suitable for both short and large print runs with consistent quality. Now that we have learned the three basic printing methods, the invention and evolution of printing presses has transformed the way knowledge is disseminated, making the information more accessible, affordable, and globally available. And for the discussion questions, number 1, If printing presses had not been invented, do you think that there would still be other effective or alternative means of information dissemination, and what would take its place? And number two, how did the invention of printing presses contribute to paradigm shift? Thank you and have a productive discussion.